Hello everybody, and welcome back to the YouTube channel. It's me, Simulation Section. I'm also known as More Central in the real-life bus, train, tram, transport world. But on this channel, I am Simulation Section, and we take a look at Train Simulator and OMSI 2, the bus simulator. So today, as you can see, this isn't a bus, although some people would compare it to one. We have a dog box in front of us. Class 153327. We are just outside of Darlington Station, and presumably this train has just come from Saltburn. So whether it started in Middlesbrough or it started in Saltburn, I don't know. But it's just covered all the train stations I've driven on a rail replacement bus route before when I used to drive up in the northeast a fair bit. So we've gone through Eagles Cliff and a few other places like that. And now we're taking over and resuming just outside of Darlington. Excellent. So let's get ourselves loaded back in. Excellent stuff. So we'll get our bits and bobs set up. So let's see what it's telling us. You're currently waiting the road into Darlington. As soon as you get the road, you may get on your way. You are booked to call at Darlington, Durham, Chesterley Street and Newcastle with an arrival there at just after 9 AM. So we need to get some various bits and bobs set up. So this is the bit where I find things. There we go. We'll turn that volume down just a little bit. We will then get our daytime lights on. There we go. Destination indicator on. Excellent stuff. Is it giving us a blind today? It might be doing. Oh, that's the wrong. Oh, that is very much the wrong thing. Is it giving us a blind? No. Okay, the destination blinds must be a bit broken today. But the rest of the unit is still the same. It's still doing what we need. We need to get the wipers on as well. If I can find where they are. We'll pass in another 153 going the other way. We'll work out where these wipers are and then we will... they'll be right in front of me and I know a lot of you... There we go. It's that one, isn't it? Well, it should be that one if I click it the correct way. That's a bit too quick. That's a bit too slow. There we go. So, this is one of the original, so we are going a bit old school today, one of the original scenarios by Just Trains when they released the Class 153. This route is the Newcastle to York Modern, so it is the East Coast mainline route from the original Train Simulator, which Just Trains, a couple of years afterwards, sort of did a modern revamp to. It is an old route, so just like some of the other routes that we've driven recently, it's not going to be to the same really high and exciting standards of the Max Tracks Airedale and Wharfdale line, but it is good to have a bit of a compare and contrast because when we do more runs on there, it allows us to appreciate it a little bit more. I am also currently waiting for a few more scenarios to be released. We've just gone straight through. Hold on. I'm waiting for a few more scenarios to be released for the Airedale and Wharfdale lines at the moment. Still waiting on a couple, so I'm just waiting for them to release. And yeah, we'll be back on there. So I am keeping an eye on the scenarios on there. There's not really taking my fancy. And the thing is there's a lot that have been based on Settle and Carlisle, which is a good thing. It is a good thing in itself. However, for me, Settle and Carlisle doesn't. The Settle and Carlisle line covering the Skipton to Leeds bit or Leeds to Skipton bit, it's getting a bit boring. We've done that quite a lot. So I'm looking at a couple of other bits that we can do. I have recently got the Class 800 to 803 enhancement pack. Here the Class 43 cross-country. Cross-country Class 43 making its way. We need to be stopping here. Excellent stuff. Got the tractor by the Class 43. But we have stopped just on our platform bit, that's good. A little bit late, I didn't realise we were going on to 4A, I just kind of in my head just went, oh, we're going on to platform 4. exciting, so I didn't really think that it would be 4A. So I do have the enhancement pack, and there is a scenario I'm wanting to do because obviously L&E are up and down the Airedale line. They go to Bradford Foster Square a couple of times in the day, and they go to Skipton a couple of times in the day. And when they divert off from Leeds. The main line that L&E are really trying to promote at the moment is the Harrogate line. That seems to be doing really well. However, they do still have a couple of journeys that go to Bradford Foster Square and a couple of journeys that go to Skipton. That sort of run predominantly in the peak hours of the day. So what we're driving is the Just Trains Class 153, the dog box. This is the sort of one of the old school add-ons for Train Simulator again, and I felt like it would work quite nicely with the East Coast Main Line. It does have the enhancement pack put on it. I have downloaded the Major Wales Designs enhancement pack for this. It is really worth getting because it does seriously enhance your experience. However, because this is an old original JT scenario, that's why I think we're having the issues with the destination lines. So there is some enhancements on it, there is some upgrade on it. As you can see with the car, it seems to be high quality. There's more buttons to press and bits like that. However, the bits like the destinations don't seem to have gone across. So we'll just pretend that the blind decided to have an off day. So this scenario is based around the time that this route was actually released. There will be a bit of a reminisce for us. As you can see, cross-country still running HSTs. We'll see East Coast as it was back then, still running HSTs as well on this. That'll be really cool. And the likes of these dog boxes, because nowadays Northern doesn't run any of these Class 153s and hasn't run for quite some time. So I was in Darlington not so long ago actually, so it's quite cool to leave Darlington. The scenario is based on sort of like a winter period, so it is based, as you can see, with the snow and bits like that. Obviously it is springtime going into summer. I'm very surprised that we didn't need to slow down for that. That's a bit concerning. And straight into 125 miles an hour. So I did think to myself, I was like, should we drive on the Trailer Warminson? And I thought, no, the weather's getting warm, so you can watch this, you can have a bit of a cool down, a bit of a chill out. The day that I'm filming this, it is really warm outside, and it's definitely getting there. It's not quite summer weather yet, but it's definitely getting warmer. So it's quite nice to drive this. You see the snow and the snowy weather, and you're like, nice and relaxing, nice and cooling, and that sort of thing. So it is worth noting, as you'll have already seen, this is an old route. It is an old route. I'll explain as we go on why I really wanted to drive this route for a number of years actually on Train Sim. But it is an old route, so as you can see, some of the speed markers appear to be missing and haven't been put in. The details that we're dealing with this are not going to be as sort of well thought through as you'd have had in the likes of the Max Tracks add-on, so the details aren't as there with it. As you saw as well, the scenario set us up to start outside of the station on a bit that hadn't been properly added in or thought through, so we ended up driving through a gantry. Again, bits like this are with these old JT scenarios. The Just Trains stuff has definitely improved in recent times, really has improved. However, it is stuff that we just have to bear in mind because it is an old route. But I did want some variety. I wanted to stick with the theme of Northern. We are going to hopefully get a run up to Holyhead very soon for those interested in such things. I have just also acquired the Class 175 enhancement pack that will enhance our 175 experience and we'll drive the North Wales route. So my thinking is to have a go in the 175 to Holyhead at some point because now I've got the enhancement pack, it's a bit more appealing to drive it. I'm also keeping a lookout for any potential 175 scenarios which come out on the Riviera line as you go down to Cornwall. As we all know now, the 175s are starting to move over to GWR, which I do want to go down to Cornwall and see, because I just think, I do entirely understand why it's happening, but I think it's just weird. Hey, East Coast. And what I love about the East Coast trains when they go past, they do actually include the fact that there were the odd random carriages that had the older livery, some of them had the newer livery, and with how they set up the rolling stock. So East Coast was a period when it stopped being, I think, National Express. I think it stopped being National Express. We're waiting for another sort of franchise bit to start. So it was briefly East Coast with the white and sort of lighter grey livery, but not all the stock was painted, so they didn't necessarily paint entire units in one go, or if they did, they tended to swap rolling stock around for various bits. So it ended up with this patchwork, especially on the Class 91s, where you'd have most of the carriages and the rolling stock would be in the new livery in a set, and then you'd have the odd carriage or two, or the rear unit, rear loco would be in the older livery, and it was a really cool era. Nowadays you don't get that because the likes of the 801s, there's no need to detach carriages and then swap them around. Back then it was cool. Cool to see, and it's nice driving routes like this because it is that bit of reminisce of that. And I must say as well that the lighting's really nice. I have also gone shopping as well with the enhancement packs. I've got a load of the AP. We are about to come off this track because it's telling me we can do 85, but that was feeling very dicey as we were going around there. So we'll just slow it on down just a smidge, because that definitely felt a bit more of a lean than I was quite happy with. It very much did. I was not happy with that lean at all. Why is it saying, oh, there was a temporary speed change. So, why am I interested in this route so much? This random route from about 13 years ago. Why are we bringing this back in this video? What on earth is going on? Have I gone bonkers? I went bonkers a bit ago, but that's not the case of discussion for this video. Basically, I wanted this route for years when I got Train Simulator, long before I got onto 2, because I've had the Train Simulator a lot longer, and I wanted this route for absolute years, and I really wanted to drive it. I really wanted to go on the route, and the thing that really appealed to me with the route was the fact that, unlike a lot of the other external DLCs, it was very much, at the time, we didn't have much looking around the north of England way, like we have Liverpool to Manchester now. We have Manchester to Leeds on Steam. We didn't have that, and we didn't have the likes of the Hawke Valley line, which I do need to purchase as in regular travel around the Hawke Valley line. I do definitely need to purchase that DLC. But we didn't have any of that, and the East Coast Mainline was like one of the only things in the north that was done. And when I saw that it was sort of based in the 80s, I was like, I can't really relate to that. However, I then saw the modern one come out, and the thing that appealed to me, and this will sound absolutely bonkers to some of you, but the thing that, let's see if we can get a nice screenshot. I mean, better than nothing, innit? There we go. No, it's not the best of screenshots, but that'll do. The thing that appealed to me was the advertisement video that they did, the promo video for the route. And it wasn't even the route itself, it wasn't even the change, it was actually the song. The song that was that was created for that promo video is single-handedly one of my favourite pieces of music going. I absolutely love it. I will probably link it in the description below, because I absolutely love that song. And the music was just so calm and so chilled out, it has an adventurous vibe, and it really made me think. I was like, oh, I really want the route, and I never got it. Back then I never got it. I've only had this route, I think, probably about 6 months. I've only had this route like 6 months, probably something like that, probably a year at a push. This is probably my second time of driving it. I will be entirely honest with you all, it's probably the second time. I do also now have the Newcastle to Edinburgh section as well. I do really want to go on that. I really do. Because we've got the Voyager answer, so we can have a go at that. I do also want to try and find an excuse to have a go with the Meridian. I don't have the Midland Main Line, unfortunately, with how much time I spend driving on this simulator game now, and how much time I spend in it and how much free time I have. Unfortunately, I can't buy the various different bits of add-ons that create the Midland Main Line. Because that's the thing that annoys me with that with Just Trains, is they'll release a route, then it'll be an add-on on a route, then it'll be an add-on of an add-on on a route, and you just think to yourself, it's just like, I just want one route, just do the whole route, and I just want that route. That's again what I like about the Airedale line, it's one route, it is one full route, that is it, sorted. No drama, nothing like that, just buy the route, you can drive it all. Brilliant, that's what I like. But with the Midland Main Line, you'll buy a section of it, but then you've got to buy an extra bit to go for the extra end of the Midland Main Line. Then you've got to buy an extra bit to do the extra section of route, the bit that branches off up to Matlock. But then you can only have the Matlock bit if you have another bit before you have the main bit. And it just gets really confusing. It really, really does. And with every single add-on being at least 15, 20 quid a go, you're soon paying nearly 60 quid. When, again, with the likes of Max Tracks, I think that was like £25, something like that, and an entire route to an incredibly high detail. So that appeals to me a lot more personally. As I say, they're all different, but that's how I think of it. That's how it works for me. I do want the Hope Valley line as well. I am thinking about buying that. Actively thinking about buying that. I do think that, as per all the time, Steam's got a sale on again. It just gets to this point where they've just always got a sale now. Ooh, 47. Exciting. I haven't seen one of them in train since for a while. I am thinking of getting the Hope Valley line in the next sale. I really want to go on that. I think the Hope Valley line and possibly the 185, because a few of you have commented below and said, yeah, cool to see the 185. I do also think it'd be cool to see the 185. I'm going to hang on and just make sure that I've got enough routes and various bits and scenarios set up for it. I don't just want to buy it and not be able to use it. I used to do that a lot with Train Sim DLC, because there's a lot of DLC that I own that I just keep uninstalled because I don't use it. It just takes up unnecessary memory. But I am hoping to get the 185 very soon. I think I'll treat myself over Easter and get that, because it is a train that I like to go on a lot. It is something I do like to travel on a lot, so it'd be cool to have a drive on one. And I think we've got enough routes now set up to do that. I do feel like there's still a few routes and bits and bobs that I need to sort with this, but what's quite hopefully you all enjoy about this channel as we do continue to grow is that I don't necessarily choose the routes that everybody else is driving. I do try and obviously drive sort of the newest stuff and some of the updated stuff and the brand new DLCs and bits like that. However, I do like to go back and revisit things, or visit something if it's been modified or it's had an enhancement, or it's a route I've not covered, or we can have a good discussion about it. And I really like doing that, because for me, I enjoy that more, instead of just going, oh well, this route's come out, I've never been there before, I've never been on that line, let's buy it and drive it, because everybody else does that. With that in mind though, if you are watching this video, thank you for your support. I do hope you are enjoying it so far. It will get better when we get to Durham. This is the big section of nothingness, because when you sort of come up from York, there's a really big gap of nothingness till about Northallerton. Then there's a little bit of nothingness to Darlington. Then there's another big bit of nothingness to Durham. And then from Durham, Chester Street's really close, and then Newcastle's really close. So that's why this section's a bit long, and it's just all a bit like, I mean, there's not much going on with the scenery. And that's because this is like this in real life. It's exactly the same. But with that in mind, I do hope you are enjoying it. If you are, you can support what we're doing on here by clicking that like button, because that way more people will be able to find this video and enjoy it just like you are hopefully enjoying it at the moment. And if you haven't already and you've just found me and you're going, yeah, he seems up around, yeah, I like this video, yeah, it's pretty fun, then click that subscribe button. Support what we do on here. At the moment, this simulation videos twice a week. There's usually one on Z and one train sim. It is just me. There's no fancy la-di-da editing crew behind it like some channels. So unfortunately, if I don't get a chance one week to film everything, I don't get a chance one week and sit down and do it. But I try my best. So most weeks it's 2 videos a week. I do try and keep you all updated if anything changes. And you can check out the main channel, Landball Central, where I do all the real life stuff, all the vlogging bits and all the adventures on the real life bits and bobs. So, this scenario and this run, now, I have been having a bit of difficulty with trying to get stuff to work and trying to get stuff set up, because I'm wanting to try and get a few other routes set up and a few other bits set up that I can use DMUs with, because that seems to be something that you lot do really like. You really do like the videos where we sort of drive the DMUs. That seems to be something that people do enjoy here. I enjoy driving them. I enjoy talking about Northern and the other subsidiaries I've sampled DMUs on. So we do seem to really enjoy that. But I want to try and find a few more routes so we can go a bit more further afield with things. Just have a bit more adventure and intrigue and excitement. So I am installing a few bits, I'm purchasing a few bits, but I am struggling to get some bits working or finding scenarios that work with stuff. So bear with me on that one, because we are getting some more bits and bobs. The only issue I do really find with Train Simulator is there is a lot of issues regarding sort of accessibility to a lot of content. So it's like, I have the class 158, and that was the 158 that I got through the Saltburn Carlisle line and the North Wales route. Now, unless you're using that specific variation of the 158, unless you're using that or one of those routes on a DTG route on a basic scenario, there is literally no resource for them at all. So there's no like Northern reskins for them, there's no one uses them in scenarios, because what people do is they use the class 159 and then add the AP sound pack. So the issue I'm finding at the moment with Train Sim is, in order to get stuff set up, it ain't blooming expensive. And it's always been the problem, but I've noticed it a lot more recently. I am going to bite the bullet and get that 159. That is going to probably be part of my next Train Sim shopping spree, because there's a lot of Airedale and Warpdale line scenarios that are using that 158 that comes from 159. I understand why people use its more detailed model, but you'd have thought that there'd be a way in Train Sim to sort of have a substitution for it. So be like, well, people have got the Saltburn Carlisle line, so they've got the Saltburn Carlisle version of 158, let's use that. That would have been quite nice, instead of having to go out and purchase a whole new thing with then a whole new sound packs and bits like that. So I think that's the only thing that grinds my gears a little bit. I will be honest, it is the only thing that does grind my gears. But I am going to bite the bullet, and I think I'm just going to get that 158. We'll be able to drive the 158 more and access more scenarios with that. Be able to access more scenarios with that. Get more out of the routes that we do, and there'll be a few on the south coast routes I've got as well, where we can use the 158s as well. So then, as I say, we've got this route. We've pretty much got, apart from the Leeds to York section, which unfortunately, because it is a freeware DLC, I do find it really complicated to try and get working, which is really irritating, because you do require a lot of DLCs that arguably aren't related to the North. That's really annoying, because if you sort of set up the tracks and bits like that, that is a shame. It's like the Harrogate loop, that's what it is, the Leeds to Yorkshire Harrogate loop. So you have the Harrogate loop bit and then you have the bottom bit. And the thing that does seriously annoy me with it is you do require a load of DLCs that I know I'd never use. No, I'd never ever use them. But you've sort of got to have them purchased anyway. That I think is something that does really annoy me. That's why you've not seen us look at the Harrogate loop, because I don't play the game enough to do that. I am tempted, I will be honest, I am very tempted to purchase some of these additional bits and bobs, but we're going into these stations really quick today. Pulling into Durham. At least we're keeping to time. I mean, that's a positive. So that busy having a natter, I was like, oh, Durham, we are here. Why are you not opening? Why are you not opening? The doors aren't opening. The doors aren't opening and it won't go into reverse. This is exciting. I now can't get anything out of it. I mean, we're here. I think we are just gonna have to like bite the bullet here and progress, I think. Sorry everybody that wanted to ally to Durham. For some reason, even though as you can see I am on the green. I'm more on the green than I was at Darlington. For some reason, the doors don't want to work. Yeah, we failed that because the doors wouldn't open. They're spamming the button, the doors wouldn't work, and then it wouldn't go into reverse. And I was like, well, it's not going into reverse. I don't really want to chance taking it out of drive again, because if I try and take it out of drive a couple of times, it will probably not work. Try and take it out of forward. I mean, as you lot as my witnesses, that was Durham. We stopped, and we were on time. So I don't know, but we'll keep going because might as well just cut our losses with that. Because by the time if I'd have got it into reverse, manoeuvred it back, opened the door somewhere else on the platform, weirdly, I don't know, I'd have been late and we'd have just lost a lot of time. Sometimes it's just best to cut our losses. Number 47. Exciting. So this journey that we are driving, I have actually driven the rail replacement bus version of this in real life, believe it or not. So I'm pretty confident that this is the one that starts at Saltburn, or it was, I don't know if it's still not. But there was an early morning journey. Oh, look at that, coming round, cross country, lovely. So the one that I drove, and it lines up with this time. It really does line up with this time, because I set off from Saltburn at about 6:30, 7:15, and I got into Newcastle at 10 o'clock, and I know the train usually got in at about 9 ish. So yeah, this does match up. But basically, it's a weird one, is this, because it goes all the stations. all the way through to Darlington. So literally everywhere through to Darlington. You name it, it goes through there and it stops. And then when you get to Darlington, because there's like no stations along here, it feels like you're going really quick. And it is an odd one because there isn't that many northern services for quite obvious timetabling things that go along the East Coast Main Line bit all the way from like Newcastle to Darlington. There's not many that do it, purely because it's very much in the hands of TPE, it's very much in the hands nowadays of LNER, Cross Country, and then all the other operators like Grand Central, Lumo, the private access operators, the open access ones that do other bits along here. So it's all very much in the hands of them, so there's obviously quite a lot of traffic, so it is very random that there is a northern diagram, but there is, or at least there very much used to be when I last drove it. It very much existed, and this is it, and it does run this exact pattern up to Newcastle. When I drove it, it was an ME 300 that covered it, and that's class 153. The line was closed. Yeah, it's a shame that we can't get the blinds working. I'm a bit sad of that, I will be honest. Oh, I clicked the wrong button. This is the only issue with the enhancement packs as well, is if you try and use them on the base scenarios and stuff, sometimes they work. Sometimes we've yeah, this didn't particularly go to plan. Okay, we didn't get the bridge, and that's because I've just had a bit of a meltdown trying to get that to work. But oh, the opportunity's gone now. Shocking. There we go. Let's just keep progressing. Could do with this on actually. The hood will come in handy. So as you can see, we're not far from Chester Street at all, and then from Chester Street, it's pretty plain sailing all the way through to Newcastle. There you go, National Express. Exciting. I do really like driving these older scenarios on this route, because with the era that this route was set up for, I really remember it so well. I remember going to the National Railway Museum in York and looking out the viewing platform that I was absolutely gutted to find no longer exists at the museum now. I last went to the museum with a couple of friends of mine. We're not, I'm not a mega train person. I'm not a mega train person. They certainly were not trained people. But we went there because it's something cool to do, something different. We like trains cool. So it was cool to go. And there's an incredibly long route that you've now got to walk to get round there. So you've got a really extenuating long route to get round. And the museum at the time that I'm doing this is split into two. I don't think we're going to make this station, people. I think we're going to be missing Chester Street as well. I'm going to be honest, I do think I've overcooked it. This entire video is really going to plan everybody. I mean, the positive of that is at least we'll get to Newcastle on time. Sorry, Chester Street. Sorry. I mean, if you put... It does balance out. I got to Durham and the doors wouldn't open because the game decided they weren't going to open. And with this Chester Street, it does sort of balance. It does also mean our ETA into Newcastle really early. But hey ho, it happens. Again, let's just cut our losses and we'll just chuck this video off as a bad job, I think. Too busy having a natter. Although, to be fair, I know a lot of when it happens in rail replacement, a lot of people miss Chesterley straight out. So, because we were there not so long ago, actually, doing rail replacement. I was up in Darlington, and a lot of people that don't go via Chesterley Street. So, we're just replicating that to train. That's all we're doing. Cheers. Apologies for those that really like realism. This entire video's not gone to plan. I will be very honest with you all. But we are too far now into this scenario to give up. Yes, it is going to be a pure fail. However, we will progress. We will progress. We've got to see it through. We've started, so we've got to finish. Even if it has all gone drastically wrong. Very quickly. Very quickly indeed. But to be fair, on all these stations I have been absolutely flooring it in, so it was going to happen. So my apologies for people who wanted me to stop at all the stations. I'm also annoyed that I didn't stop at the station. And it was when I came around the corner, I think the corner was a bit elusive. It was when I came around the corner I was like, yeah, I've overcooked this. We've overcooked this. We ain't gonna make this. It's just that point of, we're just going to have to lean into it at this point. We'll have to lean into it and accept our fate, and that is exactly what we're doing. Oh, this looks a bit bumpy. Oh my goodness me, okay, that's a bump and a half. Nearly in Newcastle now. Nearly there. There's not much traffic on this side of the scenario, I'll be honest. I'll be honest, I was expecting a little bit more traffic as we went into Newcastle, possibly another Northern or something like that as we get a bit closer. Bit where it starts getting fun. Oh, there's a HST. We like HSTs. Although the original HST is a very old model now, it is still cool to see it go past, just in all the different liveries, as I say. I mean, it feels like it was years ago now. To be fair, it probably is, thinking about it. It feels like it's years ago that we had HSTs on the cross-country network. It feel like years ago that I think it is actually now years ago. That's really scary because I remember, and I lived in Sheffield at that point probably a year or two. I think about 2 years, 2.5. And I remember seeing off the cross-country HST through Sheffield. Because I don't usually go out for trains, I'm not usually bothered, but I knew the HSTs was a big thing. So I remember seeing them off. And I actually think that's years ago. That is really scary. I will be honest, that is seriously scary. Newcastle platform 11 for us. If we keep this steady decrease of speed, we won't lose any time. I mean, we are arriving in 10 minutes early. I do partially blame that in Chester Street. I also partially don't. Purely because I'd have only lost a minute or two there, not 10. That's a bit bizarre. So I don't tend to travel to Newcastle itself by train that much. I tend to go up there by car, or I'll catch the train to like Durham or Darlington. I don't think I've ever caught it to Durham. I've caught it to Darlington, but I'll usually end up sort of catching it to like Darlington and catching the bus up from there. Or just I don't tend to do the train that much. I don't. I will be honest. I absolutely love going up to Newcastle. It is one of my favourite places for an evening out. It is absolutely lovely. However, I just don't tend to go up that much, to be honest. I really don't. So, yeah, one of my fond memories, where was I going with that, you all ask? One of my not so fond memories was a trip that I actually did up, and the main reason why I do tend to be quite put off actually going to Newcastle by train. I do try and avoid it if I can, because I remember having a day out in Newcastle. I had a bus to catch going from Leeds, so we're catching the train back to Leeds with a couple of friends of mine. We've been to a bus event that wasn't the best bus event in the world, I will be entirely honest. I really didn't enjoy it. It was incredibly boring. There really wasn't much going on at all. And it wasn't worth the trek all the way over. And I don't say that often, but it wasn't. I'm not going to name it, but it wasn't. So we ended up in Newcastle riding on random buses because they were more exciting. We then jumped on the train to head back. The train left the station on time, got to literally just the other side of this bridge that we've just been over and stopped. Sat there for half an hour. And then reversed back into the station. And then an hour and a half, 2 hours later, we gave it another go. And then finally left. And I will always remember that it just took us absolutely hours. There wasn't a speed warning for that, that's nice. It took us absolutely hours to get out of Newcastle. So if you ever wonder why I don't tend to start many videos in Newcastle, I tend to start them elsewhere and track up there, or if you see I do sort of like a mini series of content, it'll very much not start at Newcastle. It'll very much start somewhere else and work its way up. That's why. That's why. Because if I can avoid it, I will. So, with the GWR 166 substituting for a Transpennine Express train, we have now arrived into Newcastle and the old style platform. So we're going to finish off here because the platform isn't as realistic on that side. So I do hope you enjoyed this video. Apologies, it was a little bit chaotic. It's been a while since I've driven train sim, and yeah, I caught that Chester Street. I think what didn't help is because I'm used to the stop-start routes, and the stop-start in between the stations, really like close proximity. I'm not used to getting that speed up and then braking, so I definitely need to get used to that. Chester Street did also very much take me by surprise. I sort of came around the corner and I was like, Chester Street. That isn't the most ideal way to find these things. But hiya, it was nice to drive the 153 and it was nice to be on the York to Newcastle Modern route by Just Trains. It is an old route nowadays, but still a cool route to drive. It's nice to pass all of the era AI traffic as well, all the brands and the liveries that we've got. So yeah, it is cool. I'm hoping to have a go on the Newcastle to Edinburgh section. If this video is popular enough and you've enjoyed it, I will have a little drive on that at some point. And I do have a few other videos in my mind and planned as well. If you do have any suggestions for videos that you would like to see, please do not hesitate to let me know in the comment section below. With all that said and done, I really hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have done, then do be sure to click that like button, as that way more people can find the video and enjoy it just like you have. And if you haven't already, then do be sure to subscribe to the channel simulation section for more content like this from Train Simulator and OMSI 2, the bus simulator. Once again, thank you all for watching, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next video, mate. Bye for now. Bye.